In this phase, we're going to create the castle. The castle is the main feature of our first level. You're going to be tested on just how well you know how to make object types and work with layers. Make sure you have your USB flash drive connected and that your step-by-step project guide is open. You're going to need that to complete this phase. In this stage, we're going to be creating a variety of object types for our castle, and we're going to be assembling them together. You're going to adjust the collision polygon of the top castle stones so that it looks like the alien is walking behind the top of the castle, and then we're going to create animations for things like the castle door. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the project guide. I'm going to go to the table of contents and I'm going to find where it says the castle. You will see that the first thing that you need to do to complete the castle is create castle object types. In this table are listed all of the different sprite object types that you need to create. It tells you exactly what to name them, where the file is, what to set the origin point to, what layer to place them upon, and then whether to include them in the solids family. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a moment, referring to your step-by-step project guide, I want you to create all of these object types according to this table. If you scroll down a couple pages, you'll see that ultimately what you're looking for is this right here. This is the castle. This is what it should look like. By referring to the picture, this is the game layer. Only some of the castle stones will be on the game layer, while most of them will be behind the player on the background layer. Using this table plus what you can discern from these pictures, I want you to take a moment to create these object types according to the table and assemble them until your castle looks something like this figure right here. At this point, I've built my castle minus the door and the spire flags. If you go under object types, you should have a stone, stone left, stone right, stone top left, stone top middle, stone top right. You should also have a spire and castle flag, castle window. If you look at your layers, if I take out the background layer, you should only see the top castle stones. If I have my background and not the game layer, then you should see something that looks like this. Also, in your solids family, you should have added the stone top left, stone top middle, and stone top right. Any of these stone top objects, we're going to need to adjust their collision polygon a little bit. We want to make it look like the player is behind the castle top when it walks up there. So for each one of the stone tops, each one of the castle top stones, I want you to go in and adjust the collision polygons to look something like this. This will make it appear as though the player is on top of the castle behind the ledge. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to eyeball it as best you can. Can always come back and adjust this later. Now it's time to create the castle door. We want to go to our layers and we're going to lock the game layer, unlock the background layer, because that's the layer we want to put our castle door on. I'm going to go back to the project bar, and the castle door is going to be a sprite. Right click, insert new object, sprite, and we're going to call it castle door. And we're going to click. We are going to load our castle door from a sprite strip using the animation frames window. Let's rearrange things a little bit. I'm going to right click, import frame from sprite strip. We need to find our castle door. It's a 4x1 animation. When the import sprite strip dialog appears, we are going to indicate that it is in fact 4x1. we're going to replace the entire existing animation and press OK and OK. Next, we're going to work with our collision polygon. I'm going to right click, guess polygon shape, which ends up just being a big rectangle, which is fine by us. And then we want to apply to the whole animation. So no matter what the frame is, that's what we're going to have. We're also going to set the origin point to 0, 192. It's going to place it in the bottom left corner. That's going to make it easy for us to snap into the grid. Once again, whenever you have multiple frames, you can right click on the origin and say apply to the whole animation. And let's close this out for now. Let's lock our castle door into position. Make sure our snap to grid is enabled, and we should be able to place it perfectly right there. We need to go back and set some of the castle door's animations. So let's go to castle door, edit animations. Sometimes the best way to deal with an animation is just to duplicate it. So my default animation, I don't want to be these 4 frames, but I did that so I can easily make my other animations. In the end, I'm going to come back to my default animation and pull out any of the frames that I don't want. So we need to create an open animation. This is going to simulate the door opening. The easiest way to do this is to duplicate the one we have and call it open. Make sure open is selected. We are going to change the order of some of these frames. We're going to get rid of some as well. We don't want this first frame, so we're going to delete it. When the door opens, we want it to look like this. Little crack, then about halfway open, and then totally open. That's exactly what we want for the open animation. Speed 5 is fine. Loop no. Repeat count 0. And that is good. Let's do something similar. Go back to default animation, right click, duplicate. This one we're going to call close. Make sure the close animation is selected. And we kind of want to reverse this order. We want the completely open door at the beginning, then the halfway, then the crack, and then ultimately the completely closed door. Its properties, repeat count 0, and that's all we need to change there. Go back to the default animation and make it so it's just the door frame. So delete these other guys until you have one single frame. Let's preview this. It looks like we have a working open and close animation for our door. So we should be able to close all that out. Remember, the default animation should just be a closed door. Now it's time to create the flags for our castle spires. Make sure the background layer is unlocked and is active. Object type, insert new object. This is going to be a sprite. And we're going to call it flag green. Crosshair should appear. Click on the layout. I'm going to readjust things here a little bit. I am going to use a 2-frame animation, but this one is not going to be a sprite strip. So we're going to have to go out and get 2 separate images for our animation. Find flag green, 66 by 71. Set its origin point to 0, 71. And we're going to add that as a frame. Now we're going to go out, get the other flag green, 65 by 70, and we're going to set its origin point to 0, 70. Once again, add the frame, and then what I like to do is delete the empty frame off the end. So now we have a 2-frame animation for our default. We can preview that. It should look like that. We want to make this loop and go a little bit faster though. So let's change the speed to 1.5 frames per second and let's make it loop. And now when we preview it, it should look more like a waving flag. That's what we want. I click on X, and now I need to position my flags. I'm going to need 2 of them. I'm going to take my snap to grid off, control drag release. I want to kind of put them at the top, and right here there's a little rotation bar that I can use. Make it look like the flag is angled. And I can put them at different angles, and there they are. Now I need to move my flags behind the castle spires. So I'm going to use the Z order bar, and I'm going to click somewhere on the layout. I'm going to scroll down to my background layer. I need to make sure that my flags are behind any of the spires. I should have 2 of them. So now the appearance is that the flags are behind the spires. Let's play it real quick. Looks like we've got a nice looking castle with waving flags. In future videos, we're going to make the castle door open and close and allow the alien to go on top of the castle to collect coins, to jump around, do all kinds of crazy stuff. But let's go back to Construct 2 for now, and let's save. Control S. Or you can go to File, Save. If it's grayed out, you've done a great job and you're all done.